Hey, I'm Gator, and this is my 1982 4AGE KP Starlet. Let's go.
Hey man.
Hey man.
How you going?
Good. Let's go.
Fuck, it goes right there.
Yeah.
Yep. '82 Starlet?
Yep.
Yeah. I can honestly say I've never sat in the driver's seat of one of these things. This is going to be fun. Indicators on the right.
Yes.
Clutch right.
Turn it off. What do you reckon?
Uncanny.
Feels a lot faster than you are, eh?
Oh, yes. It's you feel small but
Yeah.
going fast.
Yep.
When you said torque before though, it's got plenty there.
Yeah.
What it is.
You're not having to put a lot of pedal in to get output. Hey.
There's not a lot of what you'd class as play really.
Yep.
It does that with ease.
Oh yeah.
So what on earth inspired you to get a Starlet?
It's quite. I see what people think. It's hard being a passenger in your own car.
Yep.
The value. They're cheap. They're rear-wheel drive. They're Toyota, so they're economical. I thought they were easy and cheap to modify. I was wrong.
So if I remember correctly from our conversations, this is Starlet number 4?
14.
I was missing the one.
Yeah, Starlet number 14. This one. I love them, eh? They're just such a neat thing to roll around in. Like this. There's a prime example. It's just a crack up. You just have fun.
It just brings a smile to your face.
Yep. I remember years ago, me and my mate Henny went to Auckland, and we'd always gone to Auckland in modern cars, and we went to Auckland in one of these, and it was a 1 litre 4-speed factory as one of these, and every single person we pulled near or talked to all weekend, all night, was talking to us and approaching us and happy, and there was no animosity, and they're just a fun car, and everyone, I don't know if drawn to them, but they just have a positive outlook. We'll go straight.
Yeah. I just did the Euro trick.
Yes. Yes, you did too.
So 14 of them, that's you've had a fair bit of experience modifying them then.
Yes and no. I would argue that I've only really modified 2 of them. Well, 3, but 2 successfully. How was that? That was fun, eh?
Fun, yeah. Yep. Very different. Like I say, first time driving a Starlet for me. And honestly, first time driving a Toyota that old. So, no, it's a cool piece of kit, man. Real cool piece of kit. So, you kind of covered a couple of things in the car, but I want a bit more in depth of why this car?
Going back to, I've always wanted a Starlet, right? Should I go right back to the beginning?
Let's go to the beginning.
So, I used to work at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's on Waira Road. It was awesome. I had a 1980 Honda Lead scooter, which is a 125cc, like step through yang scooter.
Yep.
And in typical Gator fashion, someone needed something, I wanted to help them, right? So a work colleague was about to walk home. It was pissing down with rain. And I said to him, bro, just take my scooter, and your next shift starts when mine finishes. So why have the scooter parked outside work when it can just go live at your house for the day, right? Like, I'm not using it. So he left, comes back 8 hours later, 6 hours later, whatever it was, in a yellow 4-door Toyota Starlet. And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, oh, I couldn't get the scooter to start. My dad's a mechanic and he reckons that it's the spark plug or something, so he's going to fix it for you. And he said, just drive this until we get it fixed. And oh man, that was friggin' rad. And that was it. From that moment on, I knew I had to have one. Right. Fast forward probably 5 years, I reckon. Yeah, probably 5 years. I'm working at a digital print firm in town, and a guy called Brad rolls in, and he's a digital designer, and he says, oh, casually, oh, I've got a Starlet. Oh, man. He said, I'll bring it to work. He brings it to work. It's got a 4H in it. Twin side drafts. His dad was a hot rodder. We jumped in it. By the end of the on-ramp, and I was just like, right, mindset, I have to get a 4H Starlet from that moment forward. And then on to this one. Green, my favourite colour, as you've mentioned.
Yeah.
It's my favourite shape. It's the middle shape. I like late 80s technology, but I like early 80s styling. I just like the look of it. 2 doors are the most sought after, and they're the best looking. So it's just right, is for me. It's my favourite shape. It's my favourite engine. I've got a 4AG in it. It's just good. I mean, I paid $4,500 for it with a cert.
Tell me a bit more about when you got the car.
Okay, so at the time I had an RSRA Legacy that I was kind of over. I built the motor 3 times in the space of probably 2 years, maybe 3 years. Didn't feel like very long. All my own fault, all things I've learnt from doing. That's why this got tuned. Those didn't. I just did the mods and assumed it would be good like the Americans do, and it always works for them.
Yep.
But it didn't work. I blew the motor, leaned out each time. I could write a book on that car. And while I was selling it, I found this on Trade Me, as I said, 4.5. And it was in Wellington, and I said to the guy, look, I want it. I love it. I genuinely will buy it right now. I just don't have $4,500. So I need to move this Legacy. So don't hold it, but I'm very interested. I'll give you what you're asking, because I thought it was a fair price. 3 weeks later, I got rid of the Legacy, and I rang him, and he was like, yeah, man, I was waiting until you were ready to buy the car. I wasn't going to sell it to anyone else, no matter what. So I was pretty stoked about that. A guy called Ben, still keep in touch with him now. So I drove down to Wellington with the trailer, picked it up. My test drive was from of all irony, the Blue Bridge car park onto the trailer. It was the only car park we could find that was big enough for a trailer. Onto the trailer was my test drive. He was like, do you want to test drive it? I said, no. As I said, he drove it to New Plymouth. What could go wrong?
Yep.
Got it home. Mikey was there too. Rolled it off the trailer. We were so excited. Jumped in, foot down. Nothing happened. It drove. It had torque. It felt okay. Maybe we'd been spoiled by modern cars, but it didn't drive like how a 4H Starlet should drive in my mind. So got it home. It had twin side drafts, but it had an ECU, a factory ECU in it. So we had, look, the ECU was doing the spark, but there was nothing feeding it timing information. So it was effectively like having a locked dizzy. So between sort of 4.8 and 5.2, it was in the perfect spark. But other than that, it was just horrid. It just had nothing. It was popping and banging and pulling and just being silly. So we then got a Hyperpack, which is like a little ignition advanced timing, and we ran it on that. Did a gumboot in that. Mark from Rewires wired that all in, got it ready for the gumboot. 4 days before gumboot, me and Paul are water blasting the interior out because we hadn't even got to that yet. So 4 days before gumboot, and I had a list like I do up on the wall, and it was everything. We had seats to go in, we underlaid it, carpeted it, seats, stereo, dash in, all in 4 days. It was awesome. Went and did the gumboot, and it was driving like a bag of balls. It wouldn't rev over 4.5. I later put plugs in it. That fixed it a little bit, but still not right. And then about a week later, it blew the motor. My theory was I had a $500 car that had the same motor. I was going to get the carbs rebuilt, put an unknown motor in, slap the carbs on, get it back on the road in a few weeks' time. Sent the carbs down to Parmaside, which is a specialist in Christchurch. And the phone call went along the lines of, you know these carbs aren't a matched pair, right? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, one's an Econo carb, like off an Italian car, and one's not. It's a proper Delordos they were. And I said, oh, what does that mean? Well, they're not a pair. They shouldn't go together. And I said, oh, well, the car never ran right. And he goes, you had this running on a car. And I said, man, I did 5,500 Ks on it. He was impressed, to say the least. So then, back to the drawing board, like, you need new carbs, so the price of new carbs. And then, of course, Mark and I get talking, and ECU comes in, and it just made sense. So, found a cheap Link G3, we flashed it with G4 software. I quickly got my motor rebuilt, took me 3 years. I went to Hara Engine Rebuilds and said, look, this is what I do. I like to rev my car, I like to drive it long distances, and I just want to build something that's really bulletproof. So we made a plan, did the plan, and came up with this. Went up to Mark at Rewire NZ, rewired the whole thing. It is beautiful. Got it tuned by Mark up there, another Mark that's next door at Revolution Engine Specialists. He spun up 120 of the wheels, drove it for about 2 months, and the car got worse and worse and worse, and couldn't figure out why. Then one day, at a rotary car event of all things, Lance, one of the boys, noticed that my inlet manifold had like a 1mm air gap, and you could just move it. And what it was, when I did the inlet manifold on, I didn't put the washers on, and without the washers, the bolts just bottom out. So when Mark at Engine Revolution did it, it was fine because it was all siliconed on, but as time had gone on, the silicon had worn, and it got to the point where so much unmetered air was coming in the 4-cylinder, it was almost running on 3. Fixed that, and it was mint, but it ran like a race car, like it was either on or it was off, and it wouldn't idle properly and anything, because of course it wasn't how it was tuned. So I booked it in at Ross at Tricky Tunes, and Ross is the man. We sat down, we had a chat, and he said, what do you want from it, Gator? And I said, well, actually I want it to be modern. I want it to start on a cold day, I want it to idle for hours, and just be a casual car. And that's really where we're up to now with the car, really. So the goal now, to guess your next question, what's next with the car? Next with the car now is to build a bit more reliability into it. So when we went to do the South Island trip, it spat a diff. It had spat a diff earlier this year. We think we may have just done another one just now, test driving it for the videos.
So, something with you and diff, Skater.
It's not that me and the diffs, it's... Where's an example? It's here. Here's a really good example. That is the entire thing. They're not a very big unit. And they're designed to do about 49 horsepower. 39 horsepower. I don't know the torque figure. It wasn't something I remembered when I was a teenager. And I'm substantially more than that. And then, so the reliability plan sort of vexes around this stuff. I might actually grab this camera. So, that there is a T50 gearbox, which is out of an AE86. That back one there is the diff out of an AE86. So the plan is to put them in and basically build an 86, because I like AE86s.
You'll have the underpinnings of an 86 in the Starlet body.
Yeah, it's not a very popular opinion, but I think these look better than an AE86.
I'd have to say yes.
I just like the hatchbacks. I've always had a thing for hatchbacks. They're just such a neat little package. Half the reason why I've had so bloody many of them, right? Exactly. I must like them. And
either that or you're just mad.
Yeah, or both.
What's your favourite mod? If you were to name one thing you've done on this car that is your utter favourite, it was the most worth doing.
Yep.
And gives you the most joy.
The most joy, and it's completely ridiculous because it's nothing to do with the car at all. The most joy is the stereo, because anything else, one piece doesn't work, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah. I really like the coilover plug. It looks really nice. But no, I'm going to change my answer. The coilover plug. I really like the coilover plug. I know it's wanky saying that I like it for the look of it, but I really like how it cleans up the engine bay. I really like not having distributed leads.
Yeah. Yep, that's fair. I mean, it is a very pretty engine bay. Curly one for you.
Yep.
What's your favourite, or most memorable, I guess is the way to look at it, most memorable disaster moment in a Starlet?
In a Starlet. Disaster moment.
Because I mean,
see, that's difficult because most of them are good. Like,
when I say disaster moment, I mean, what's the most memorable
Okay.
We'll call them Gator moments.
I've got so many because I got 20 years of being a dickhead in these things, but one of the ones that really lines up. So I'm in South Auckland. I'm doing burnouts at the drags, which it was big then. Like there would have been 200 cars there. I should not. It was like Fast and Furious if you made the cars not look flash. Yep. There was that many people there. That was real. What happened? That was what we did on the weekends. It was amazing. It had Oz racing rims, big spaces to make them fit. You could turn the steering wheel and let it go, and it would stay full lock because the spaces were so wide. It ruined the geometry enough, so you could get on the diesel and do donuts and let go and put both hands out the window, and it would just sit there full lock forever. It was so good. But I'm doing burnouts, and suddenly someone yells out, "Fire!" And so I drive off the diesel onto the wet grass, thinking I was all good, and then someone yelled out, "Holy crap, fire!" And everyone around me ran away. And I got out of the car, and the back, like, quarter of my car was on fire. The rubber and diesel mixture, it obviously got hot enough that it was on fire. Everyone was running. I started to leave. I was like, what do you do? And these two massive white guys, like 130, 140 kilogram white guys, both rocked up and had like those big juice bottles full of water. Just walked up to my car, put the fire out, and then vanished into the crowd. That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool night at the Starlet, because your brain went from, I literally went to the, damn it,
I'm walking home.
I'm not having this car anymore, to being rescued. It was really cool.
What's your best piece of advice for anyone that wants to get into building a Starlet, an 80s Starlet, or a Starlet in general?
Try and buy a car that someone else has done the diff on. That's the golden key. Yeah, that's the trick. The diff is the Achilles heel in these things.
If it wasn't a Starlet, what would be your ultimate car?
So I have I'm going to answer twice, and these are my movies, so I'm allowed to. So my obtainable dream car, and I'm still confident I'll own one of these. I want a manual Audi R8 V10 in white. I think they are a beautiful machine. I think they sound amazing. They are a driver's car, and yet you can still park them on a high street, and it's not a Ferrari.
Yep.
So it just works for me. I could happily see me in one of those, and it will happen.
Yep.
Dream car as well is a KE36 drag car. So Corolla station wagon, tubbed out, probably a twin turbo or a single turbo V8 with a power glide, proper drag car.
Yep.
That's actually next. As soon as this is into here, this will probably go up to your place and we'll give it a lick of paint. Just a quick squiz just to make it look a little bit greener.
Yep.
And then I'm seriously going to be looking at a drag car because I just want to do it. I want to do drag week. I want to do all those things in Australia. I really see that in my outer years.
Yep. You've just given plenty of people a lot to be excited about with Starlets.
Yes, hopefully.
And if I come across anyone with half the amount of enthusiasm as you do for a Starlet, I will be impressed.
I probably already know them.
Yeah, more than likely. So do you know the green one? Oh yeah, that's Gator.
Yeah.
But no, thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to drive it, because like I said, it's definitely an experience.
Cool, man. Joyce?